Alright, well, sorry for the randomness of this video, but I had a bunch of stuff that I've been doing lately that I figured I'd just stick it all together because it had nowhere to go. Hasn't been a lot of track trips lately. It's either been bad weather or they've had other events going on, so hadn't been much to film. Working on the 55 today. After enough complaining, I kept throwing belts, so I stuck my big pulley on the alternator that I used to use on the Camaro because I used to have the same problem there, and it quit slinging belts. But now, of course, you know, it's got charging issues. So after enough complaining, a buddy of mine hooked me up with this kit that he wasn't using, so I can go Serpentine on the whole setup and be rid of that problem. So I'm going to put that on today. So of course it couldn't come apart easy for me. The harmonic bouncer bolt had to fight me. Had to take the radiator fan out and bust out the air ratchet it was on so tight. But the assembly process has now started. We're moving along. Alright, almost there. Just gotta go, gotta measure for the belt and go get a belt and put the fan back on. Well, there it is, finished. Got it on, works great. Belt hasn't tried to come off yet, so I'm happy.
Out for a cruise, wifey's taking me for a drive.
Well, decided to pull the rear end apart on the 55 to see if I could get rid of that grinding bearing sound. So I got the axles out. Passenger side's longer than the driver's side. Got the center section out. And yes, this is a 355 gear ratio. Just double checked. Here's why I tore it apart. This is basically the sound I could hear while I was driving. Minus the birds, of course. But that don't sound very good. And no, that's not the exact thing that was making that sound. It was just, it sounded so close that I used that as an example. That thing doesn't actually spin while the car is going. The axle spins inside of that. And yeah, you saw right, that's an open diff. One-wheeled wonder. I'm on my way to a buddy's house. Get these axle bearings swapped out. Had several friends say they could help me out, but I was trying to hurry up and get it done so I can get the 55 out of the way and maybe start working on McNugs. I'm actually a little motivated, so I went with who could help me the quickest. Well, these studs didn't want to come out easily because they're in the way. Be able to use that to take them off, so doing it the hard way. What year did you say this was again?
64.
64. Couldn't remember. Progress, man. Can't see it real good, but there's another nice car. Looks like it was all for nothing, though. Still making the same noise it was making before. So, I'm done fooling with that stock rear end. I just thought I'd throw a few dollars at it, see if I could get a little bit more time out of it, but didn't change it at all, so I'm just going to ride it till it breaks and then I'll have to do my swap. Bearings in the carrier itself seemed like they were okay, but must be something in the carrier that's making the noise. Man, I tell you what, every time I think I'm going to finally get the motor swapped in this thing, something else comes up. Life just keeps getting in the way. Now I've got air conditioner problems I'm gonna have to deal with. That's not gonna be cheap. Home AC, I should say. Well, got rid of my daughter's car and got her a Tahoe too, so today I'm going to be dealing with this. See if I can't do something with the failing clear coat. Alright, this is how far along we are so far. Okay, so there's a company online that you can have them make the color of your vehicle. This was the color of my daughter's Tahoe, the base coat, so I could spray that on and then put clear. Yep, this is a rattle can job. And here's the clear that I used. It has hardener in it, so it's better than just regular rattle can clear. And yeah, I did it the poor man's way because I don't have a shop to do it in, so 50 foot of tarps. So far, so good. Way better looking than it did before. Still got to buff it. Gonna have to wait a day or two, but looks a lot better than it did. And I should have ordered 2 cans of base. It didn't cover the hood very well because the hood was so bad. And I didn't strip it all the way down, so. And I went overboard on the clear. I used 2 cans. Didn't need to, but guess I should have dusted the hood off before I took that last part of the video. You can see specks all over it. Well, it needs to be wet sanded and buffed, but I don't feel like fooling with all that. Good enough for now. Way better than it was. So my daughter didn't want to wait on me to strip the clear off her entire hood, so I just got the really bad stuff and left the old. So you can see, when you look at it from certain angles, you can see the line where old clear is underneath. But like I said, you know how teenagers are. She's got to run the roads, so all I had was a little bit of time to do it. So I just concentrated on getting the bad flaky stuff off. On the way to work, saw this beside me. Pretty sweet. So on the Tri-5 Chevys, the shocks mount to the trunk floor where those 2 holes are. The ride quality is not as good for those that care about that, but the biggest thing is once you start racing them and torturing these things, they end up ripping through the floor. So I installed shock tower bar. That ought to help out with that problem. Now I don't have to worry about that. Now I can just move on to the rest of the car. So many things on the list left to do.
Well, I'm impressed. It actually does ride better.
My spot where the paint started flaking off when I got the car is starting to get pretty big. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. We'll see y'all next time.